Hello everyone, I'm Nini FC and this is Blue Lines TV, and today I'm bringing you guys a Chelsea talking point video. 5 talking points from yesterday's game against Tottenham. But you guys, before I get straight in the video, please hit that like button. I want to get 500 likes for this video, and also press the bell notification button if you haven't to stay notified, otherwise you just won't get any notifications for future videos. And you guys, if you haven't seen the match review I've done, make sure you watch that before you watch this video. But starting with the first talking point, and that's the reality that there probably won't be Champions League football for next season. Now, of course, we are 8 points behind Spurs. We're 5th. It's going to take something incredible for Spurs and Liverpool to drop like 9 points in their last remaining games. It's not going to be happening, but you guys, you've seen some of my previous videos already. In the card above, I'm going to link a video related to this point, but I do feel that there could be positives and benefits for us, obviously, in regards to our long-term future if we miss out on a year with Champions League football. Of course, we saw under Antonio Conte how it really helped us a lot last season without that lack of European football. But this could be that transition year that we need for a new manager, where he has a season to really implement his new ideals. And the reality for next season is, you guys, the style of football will be dramatically different to what we've been witnessing these past couple of seasons. So that's going to be a benefit in of itself. Of course, another benefit is the fact that with the Europa League and more games to play, that should be more opportunities for young players to have a chance to play and try and cement themselves in the first team, or get more prominent game time with the first team. And I think that's a benefit as well. And honestly, the only negative is the fact that, of course, financially, it's going to affect us in the transfer window. Of course, we missed out on a ton of money last time we missed out on Champions League football, but with how the club's running, with how self-sufficient they've become, and I think the fact that obviously if we could look to use some more youth for next season instead of wasting money on backup players like your Drinkwaters, where even though Conte, one of these expensive players, he still rarely ever uses them, and it just defeats the whole point really of signing them in the first place. A lack of Champions League football could be that reality that the boards and people at the club need to really reassess how they're structuring things in terms of what they want for the first team. Because as I say all the time, Chelsea run this club amazing from the bottom to the top. It's just the first team is like a completely different team to Chelsea, and it's just not sustainable. And I really feel that next season it's going to give that patience for the new manager to really set in some new ideals. It's going to keep our expectations very realistic. For me, my expectations are never realistic, but I'm expecting to really have to change my views on the type of success I'm expecting at the end of next season. But you guys, I'm not going to pretend that I'll be too upset without a lack of Champions League football. I have to be honest. Honestly, I think this could be a real positive if we do miss out on Europe, because then that means we can focus on trying to get this philosophy in place and planning for the future. The second talking point is in regards to Antonio Conte. And you guys, after this game, Conte's believers are becoming smaller and smaller, and it looks like he's definitely going. I remember when I used to get criticised beforehand. I've been saying this since before 2018 that Conte will be leaving at the end of the season, and a lot of people used to get pretty angry with that. But that's the reality that is looming, and people need to embrace that and accept what's going to be happening with Antonio Conte. He's stated himself that he doesn't want to be here, and I told you guys the big telltale sign was when he didn't sign a new contract for an extension. He didn't want that. He only signed a new contract for more money, and that's why he's here. And another reason why he's here is because he didn't want to pay any financial penalty for obviously leaving Chelsea in the summer like he did at Juventus. So of course that's the only reason he's here, and I'm not even surprised. I think this game really summed up Antonio Conte. When we're down 3-1, and at the time the game plan was working, it was individual mistakes yesterday. We have to accept that as well. But 60th minute, 30 minutes left, you're hoping maybe Conte can change something, try and inject something new into the game, give something different for Spurs to speak about. But of course, he does his customary last minute substitutions in the final 10 minutes, not giving enough time for anyone to do anything. And it's just like, if you're playing on that pitch, you're hoping your manager is going to inject something different into the game to try and get you guys up again. But I think the players know themselves, once plan A doesn't work, they basically lost the game. And I think that's what we saw yesterday. But with Antonio Conte, with Vialli saying himself that Conte in fact is looking forward to leaving at the end of the season. I'm not going to lie, I am looking forward to it because next season is going to be a very crucial year for the next 10 years for this club, because a philosophy needs to be brought in for next season. That's the most important thing, and I think getting rid of Conte is going to be the start of more positive things to come for next season. And to me, it's been no surprise why Conte's really just kept things in the motions. You know, he's not really injected anything new into the team. We haven't seen any tactical shifts or changes. Yes, he used the 3-5-2 a bit more, realised he couldn't really fully utilise. I mean, there were players he had where he could have made more justice with it, but again, didn't work. Even when it comes to some of the players that he's vouched for as well, they haven't really benefited the team whatsoever. And really, he has kind of put himself in a situation where he made this, you know, this was always going to happen, you guys. This was always going to happen. And I think Conte himself, you know, in press conferences stating that he's not worried about his future. How many times has he been saying this? How long has he been saying this for? It's obvious that he wants out and he wants to leave. And it's obvious that I feel maybe some of his, you know, his management this year has been pretty bad. It's been really bad. You look at our record, 6 points out of 21. 6 points out of the last 7 games in the Premier League is awful. People make this nonsense point that, oh, Chelsea are a sacking club, this is why we can't do anything. Well, no. If this was the old Chelsea from a few years ago, Conte wouldn't be here right now. He'd be gone. We're not trying to do things like that anymore. When Mourinho was sacked, that's because we were 10th. No, we were in the bottom half of the table. We were awful. So that's what we need to accept. But you guys, last few games, I don't think Conte will get sacked before the season. No, it's not going to happen. He'll leave at the end of the season, because that way, as you guys know with my previous video, his compensation package will be cheaper. The next talking point is in regards to N'Golo Kante, and honestly, you guys, this is one of the best things that Conte has done for us, and I think that when he does leave, it's probably the best gift that he could give to the club. It's even more important than the league, in my opinion, because we'll have Kante here until he retires, and I think that's more important for our long-term success and future. Yesterday, he was incredible. The amount of 50-50s he won, distribution from the back, obviously helping us play from the back. I mean, he's world-class talent when it comes to one-touch control, second-touch pass. One of the best at doing that. I think he's up there with Busquets when it comes to playing like that. Honestly, his application throughout the game, his desire, incredible player, world-class player. And like I said, thank you, Conte, for getting us Kante. Conte played a part, obviously, in terms of speaking to N'Golo, because N'Golo had a lot of clubs after him, and it was Conte's conversation with him that persuaded Kante to sign for the club. And we're fortunate to have Kante, because he'd walk into any other team's midfield. That's how good he is. I think he'd walk into the Man City team just like that. And when you have players of this dimension at your club, it gives you a chance for the future. The next talking point is in regards to our wing-back dilemma. Now, a lot of you guys feel that I've got an affinity towards Victor Moses. Now, it's going to sound like I'm not being honest, but when it comes to Moses, I don't have any affinity towards him. I wouldn't say he's one of my favourite players. The only reason why I have my thoughts and opinions on Moses is because I feel that he's become a bit of a scapegoat, because I feel that people aren't understanding the context with certain performances, and I don't think they're really judging him fairly compared to other players. And I make this comparison all the time. I'm going to make it again, so make sure people listen. Now, I'm much more critical with Alonso. The reason why I'm more critical with Marcos Alonso is the fact that he has much more space and freedom in the left-hand side. Number one, Conte allows this guy to get inside the box. Conte likes him to get inside the box so much, we shifted our tactics in the second half against Barcelona in the second leg, where obviously Hazard was told to move in field more to allow Marcos Alonso to have the channels free for him to run into the box. And that was why he had so many times where he was getting on the end of those moves on the counter and then obviously wasn't doing anything with them. Another reason why I'm more critical with Marcos Alonso, I was speaking to you about the space, and the reason why he has so much space is because he has Eden Hazard on the left-hand side. And with Eden Hazard, as we saw yesterday, the guy's got 2 or 3 players on him. So when you have someone like Hazard that's being occupied, that's freeing up more space for Marcos Alonso. Now, for me, I think it's criminal, the fact that, one, his first time crosses are awful. I'm looking at the game yesterday, he had no guys near him at all. He had all the time and space to play in much more accurate crosses, something that Moses doesn't have, yet he barely finds anyone or he hits the first man. It happens way too often, and it's a bit ridiculous in my opinion. And also with the space he has, he doesn't really get to the byline much at all. And honestly, I looked at Emerson yesterday, I'm thinking, wow, pace. Imagine we could have had pace for the second half of this season. I'm hoping that Conte is going to start using Emerson now, because as I keep stating, his attributes he possesses is what's going to benefit the team much more, especially that space where he can really, get behind people and get on the end of 1-2s. Really help change our attacking patterns on the left-hand side. Alonso doesn't offer anything. His attacking qualities just aren't great. Yes, he gets goals. That's due to Conte telling him to get inside the box for the system. And honestly, other than that, everything outside the box just isn't effective enough. He's not an amazing outlet. Even in regards to Eden Hazard, he's not really helping to support him as much, because really his role is to get inside the box now. Now with Hazard, how many times are we seeing him isolate out wide by himself, having to move out wide? And when Hazard moves out wide, there's about 2 or 3 players around him, so he's forced to either put a cross in the box or pass it again. And honestly, it's just not effective anymore. And I feel this is why Alonso should be criticised much more than Victor Moses, because on the right hand side it's completely different. There's more men on that side. There isn't a Hazard on the right hand side that's going to occupy the spaces in the half space to allow Moses to have more 1v1 opportunities. It doesn't happen. A lot of times, I know his crossing isn't perfect. It's not anywhere near as bad. It's not one of the worst crossing accuracies in the league. Not near that at all. He's just not as effective as he can be. And I kind of feel that if he was to have that space and freedom Alonso had, I think he'd be much more efficient in those areas, in my opinion. But in a way, I'll have a degree of sympathy for both players, because I feel that it's with Conte's system that we don't really utilise our wing-backs enough. They play more of a support role. They don't really, there's no focus really on them in terms of the build-up of our possession. And I really feel that when a new manager comes in, like Tuchel for example, that could be the start of more domination on the flanks, as we see with other top teams, like obviously now Spurs, we have to say, which hurts. Man City for example, Barca, Atletico Madrid, Juventus, I can go on. Now the final talking point is in regards to Andreas Christensen, and we have to say that 2018 has been much more difficult for him, but you guys know I like to put context on things, because I feel that there's always a reason as to why things happen in the first place. And one reality is the fact that Christensen is just a bit tired out. The guy is only 21. He didn't join the Denmark national team for a reason, and the manager left him out because he saw that he was exhausted. Now, you might be thinking, oh, obviously playing as a centre-back, how can it be that demanding? But again, he's working in a Conte system. And the thing is, the training sessions are very demanding physically. We had so many games this season. Obviously, he's got a lot of responsibility playing in the middle of a back three, especially challenging for aerial balls all the time. Naturally, due to his young age, it's going to take a toll on his body. And of course, it's not as if Conte could do much, because there's been injuries to David Luiz. If David Luiz was available, maybe things would be a bit easier. The burden would definitely be easier on Christensen. That's a reality. But I just feel with Christensen, the fatigue is playing a part, and this is why we're seeing some mistakes with his concentration, because concentration and Christensen are synonymous. And you guys, I feel critique is always okay when it's in the right context. And like I'm saying, I think I'm critiquing Christensen in the right context. I understand why things are a bit difficult for him. Now, again, I'm not going to be too harsh, because he's still an amazing player. This guy's 21. In the next 2-3 years, I mean, I think he'll be the best defender in the world. But honestly, you guys, again, a major mistake for the third goal in my opinion, and again for the second goal as well. He wasn't concentrating. He didn't really stay behind Aspie and really good like he's supposed to do. Yeah, it's not like Christensen to make mistakes of that caliber, but he was definitely at fault for both goals yesterday. But anyway, you guys, that's going to end today's video. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about some of my thoughts and opinions from the game. I'm really interested to read what people got from the game themselves. Anyway, you guys, that's going to end today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Press the bell notification, please. Press that and stay notified to all things Blue Lions TV. I'm the EFC. This is Blue Lions TV. Signing out.